welcome back to Play on Gamers, the podcast where we talk about way too much gaming and stay up way too fucking late.
Yep.
I'm here with my partner in crime and one of my best friends, Ben Silverman. Ben, how you doing, buddy?
Yariv, I'm doing good. I just got back from mouth raping some Olive Garden. I got that unlimited breadsticks, that endless salad. It was awesome.
That was one of probably the worst openings we could have had. That's fantastic. Good for you. I hope
when you're there, you're family, man.
When you're there, your family, and everybody knows you can rape family. Yes.
Mouth rape.
Mouth rape family.
Should we start over?
No. We'll stick with that. So if you're still listening at this point,
yeah.
We have this is kind of like a slower week, but we do have the state of play to talk about. PlayStation State of Play, which was mediocre, I'd say, in some kind of way.
I guess.
Well, let's start with some other off-topic stuff, and then we'll get into the state of play. Let's start off with Company of Heroes. This came out today as we're recording it. You sent me the message earlier today. I was kind of thrown off by it.
Surprise.
We both love strategy games. So Relic releases Company of Heroes 3 pre-alpha, and it's available. If you're listening to this, it should probably still be available.
Oh yeah, it's available. Yeah. It's going to be an ongoing thing.
Oh, it's an ongoing thing. Okay, perfect. So it's going to be available for download. You can sign up through their website and then connect it to your Steam account. They'll give you a pre-alpha version. I barely started it so far, but if you play Company of Heroes back in the day, it's kind of, I don't want to say fast paced, but it's not really a base building type of strategy game. World War II style, really high fidelity, lots of realism in the combat, lots of strategy put into it, lots of consequence within the battles as well. So that came out today and is available. Both of us have played Company of Heroes 1 and 2 back in the day. So this was a nice surprise. And I'm going to give it, I started the beginning of the tutorial and it was having me kind of attack a map and I was like dead tired. So I'm like, I don't have the patience for this right now. So I kind of just bailed out.
Yeah.
But I did watch some footage. Did you get to play it? Did you get to give your impressions?
Yeah, I played a little more than you.
Yeah, good.
So big Company Heroes fan. Back in the day, Company Heroes 1, loved the storyline of the game. I'm a big World War II military history buff. So hit all the right notes. Company Heroes 2, I kind of dropped off on. I don't know whether it was because it was on the Eastern Front or because they changed the gameplay to be less, maybe a little faster pace with larger armies, but that was a consequence of being with the Russians and in that front of the war. But Company Heroes 1, I must replayed it a couple times over the years since it came out. It might be due for a replay right now. So I have some history with the franchise. I know you do too, but I jumped into it today and initial impressions, it reminded me, at least the map that you're talking about reminds me a lot of the Total War series. I don't know if you ever played like Rome Total War or some of the newer ones.
A little bit.
Where you start on an overworld map and you move your armies around. And then you pick which battles you're going to go into. So with the Company Heroes, you have a strategy overlay map where it's similar to a civilization type game where you have it takes different days to do things. So you can call in an army or a troop, whatever, and it takes like 2 days to arrive. And in those 2 days, both you and your enemy are making moves. So you can't just sit back, wait for your armies to show up, or else, in this case, the Germans might push forward into your territory. So it seems like there's going to be a lot of strategy going on, and not just in the real-time stuff, more in the planning on where you're going to deploy your armies, who you're going to deploy, and how long it's going to take to do that. Once you get into the game, it's super familiar, Company Heroes. Small, different collections of troops. They have different specialties. They can throw grenades. They can fire. Weren't RPGs back then. Bazookas. Call in support, air support, all kinds of stuff. this I haven't really gotten too far into it to see what makes this more unique than the rest. It obviously looks better. Physics seem better, and it's alpha. It's like a true alpha. So at the end of this, if when you play the campaign, at the very end, it opens up a survey for you to give your feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see change, stuff like that. So they're treating this like a true test, and they called it um the co alpha or co building or something like that.
Oh, building it
COH.
with you
Yeah.
type
So
of thing.
yeah. So I mean, this game's not coming out for a while, but they're already engaging the community. And if there's a community that you're going to get feedback from, it's the real time strategy on PC community.
Yeah.
They will. Company Heroes is a very um, holds a special place in a lot of PC players' hearts, especially the multiplayer.
This is the World War II era too, the way they treat
Oh
that
yeah,
era. Yeah.
and they treat it with respect, and it's um, very well researched. Um, you can't just build up massive amounts of troops and send them against machine guns; they'll get mowed down.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's great. And Relic, they got that real time strategy roots. They're great. Did
Yeah.
you play the Dawn of War series also?
Yeah. You talking about Warhammer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, the Warhammer games I like more.
Okay.
They're not as grounded, and
Well,
there's more base building involved. That's kind of what I liked
yeah,
about them. Which is always why Company Heroes I think didn't stick with me as much. I get obsessed with like base building,
me too.
and like I always loved the look and the feel of it, but it's like I was always just kind of relying on, I feel like you have to move quickly in that game, and I
Mm-hmm.
always liked kind of like camping up, building. Like this is why I like Age of Empires.
Yeah.
Building up an army, getting resources, building up like defensive perimeters. You don't really have that luxury in this game. It's kind of like
Right.
think quickly, act quickly, and it makes sense. I mean, it's grounded. Like that's how warfare really is.
Mhm.
So I like it, but the mechanics are very similar as well. Like they have that nice cover system, which I always
Yep.
love, where you utilize the ground around you, like the actual landscape around you, and they kind of tell you what you're leveraging for cover. So
Mhm.
that's the stuff I always really appreciate about it. Um, Honestly, the overworld map thing, that's where like I get that people would love that. It makes a ton of sense,
Mm.
honestly.
Yeah.
It does. But I don't know. For me, it's like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I was like, I just kind of wanted to get
Yeah.
into the strategy portion. So I don't know. It was a little bit of a turnoff for me, but I'm not gonna quit there. I'm definitely gonna give the
Give them
game
that
a shot.
feedback, man. That's the kind of stuff they want to hear. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe they shouldn't open with that. Like your
Yeah.
first foray into the game as they throw you into this overworld. Like,
Right.
no, throw me into like a Normandy
Battle.
or an invasion of Italy. Like
Yeah.
the original Company of Heroes opened with the invasion of Normandy.
Yep.
First scene.
And that was
So
I remember that game when that first came out. That was like because I remember like there wasn't really anything like that at the time.
you want a
Like
real time strategy?
yeah, but a World
Mm.
War II that looked like that. Like it looked like you were playing Saving Private Ryan. you know?
Yeah.
And there was I remember even the trailers for it, he just like it was like it like almost invoked Saving Private Ryan, which again was kind of like the standard of like movies, like World War II movies. It still probably still is.
Mhm.
Um, but it like had this like cinematic effect and like the first one pulled me in a lot more than the second one. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was bad at it. Like I
It's
wasn't
more
that good at
it's
it.
the American campaign.
Yeah.
You weren't playing as the Russians.
Yeah.
The first one was good. Like you said, the invasion in Normandy, Medal of Honor was really the only game that did that before that.
Right.
And that was a
Maybe
first person.
Call of Duty.
Did they do Normandy? Maybe they did.
I think they did. I thought
You're
they
right.
did.
I think they did.
Was it the first one though? The first Call of Duty?
I don't know,
I think it
but
was
you're right though. I think they did do it.
because I remember that first Call of Duty because again, Call of Duty was not even a brand at the time. And I remember we were talking about it, and I remember, dude, I remember this like yesterday that you hit me up and you're like, yo, dude, Call of Duty demo, check this out. Dude, I played that demo like
The original,
50,
yeah.
dude, over and over and over again. Then the game came out. I was obsessed.
That game, the controls in that game,
They were incredible,
yeah,
dude. Call of Duty was like I don't even play Call of Duty at all anymore. It's like so foreign to me
it's different. Yeah.
as far as like what I like, but it was just so simplified and just I loved using the Thompson. And like that's what this game reminded me of. It was
Mhm.
like it reminded me of Call of Duty, but like top down strategy.
Yeah, man, that's what it is. And you know, playing in it, it's very rough. Camera controls are really rough.
You can't even use 4K. They
You
recommend
cannot. They
yeah,
they they tell you to change to 1080p.
yeah,
You
it's
can't
not
do any other
optimized.
resolutions without. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna keep giving them my impressions. I'll play through it, and if that's what they want, that's what they're gonna get.
They probably have like what, a year till they release, you think?
I
Six
think so.
months.
Their engine seems, I mean, going along there, but like you said, they can't even run the resolution, run it at higher resolution right
Yeah.
now. It's very alpha.
Yeah.
This would be like what they would have. They probably were going to bring this to E3 if there was an E3.
I, I wonder why they're doing it. Not that it actually, like, I work in software development, and when I build things, everything I build is like pre-alpha. Like everything I build is along with the people I'm working with, like constant feedback definitely grows your product, like without a doubt. But I wonder why they chose to do this way. You think that there was like internally that maybe they were having some conflicts? Like that's kind of,
I think they're just worried about messing it up. I mean, I think
yeah.
they care. I mean, they're the real time strategy people,
Yeah, true.
and the company Heroes is like hallowed ground in the PC space. So I mean, and PC gamers, I mean, they will play your betas. They will give you actual feedback. I mean, back in the day, if you wanted to beta test like an actual beta test, like for real,
Mhm.
you would do it on PC. I remember signing up. I talked about Sins of a Solar Empire last week.
Right.
I was in their beta, their actual beta. There were some of the textures weren't there. Some of the ships were just blocks. Um, and yeah, I was really back in the day.
Yeah. And
So
I mean, but like I appreciate it. Like, it's cool that we get to play it. Like I wish I could have done that for Age of Empires, right? It's
mhm.
interesting that they don't even have a beta or anything like that. But I will say, like the Total War, I'm sorry, not Total War, the Warhammer, I really, really enjoyed those games. So for me,
Yeah,
that was like, that's like kind of why I liked Relic a lot, to be honest. Well, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like searching here on the side. There's that other game that came out with the mechs. I don't know if it's Relic. It came out recently, and it's a story-based RPG game. And for some reason, I'm forgetting the name right now. I
real
want.
time strategy.
Yeah, I've been wanting to buy it.
Iron
Yes.
something.
Oh man, I can't remember the name. But I think that I don't know. I don't think it's Relic.
Iron Harvest. It's
Iron is
not.
it Iron Harvest?
Yeah, King Art Games. Deep Silver published it.
Yeah, yeah. So that game looks really cool as well, and it steals a lot from Company Heroes. It looks like,
Hmm.
and Warhammer and Relic games. So, honestly, to be honest with you, Ben, I love that strategy games are still well alive. Like
Oh yeah,
the fact that Company Heroes is coming out, I think is awesome. And the fact that Age of Empires is coming out, because, dude, I would love it if EA revitalized Command and Conquer. If like the remasters were a step of something they were gonna do, and I don't mean like to bring it back and like the Red Alert 3 stuff. I'm talking about go back to Command and Conquer 1 and do a proper reboot. Like put together a
mhm.
real studio. Like they destroyed Westwood Studios years ago, and that was like the first step of, I guess me being disappointed by EA. But you know,
Yeah,
that's what sold me. And like if you look at the original Command and Conquer, it definitely spoke more to like World War II meets sci-fi
yeah,
versus whatever the hell they were doing by the end. And like Generals was even cool, but the Red Alert series was amazing. But I just want to see strategy games come back, because it's weird, because so far I'm not seeing anything revolutionary, and I don't think I'll see that with Age of Empires either. I think it's going to be more of like the same, but
yeah.
new age.
It's
But I
been
will.
far enough. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's been long enough away from those games that they can do a lot of the same things, just better.
Yes,
It's not.
but
It's not like this came out last year. This like Company Heroes 2 came out last year.
right. I totally agree with you. But it's interesting that they've never evolved. Like,
Yeah,
who is doing something new with real time strategy? I just feel like maybe, I guess, Rome Total War, but I always love the idea of like even a game like Company of Heroes, right? Like if you could command your army and then literally go into, I always had this thought as a kid, And like, let's say you're in one of those battles and you literally like zoom into one of the soldiers, and now you're in Call of Duty mode, and you can literally help that squad
There,
yourself.
there are
You know?
games like that.
Right. But like a
Yeah.
high fidelity real time strategy game, that I haven't seen. You know what I mean? And maybe that's a next gen concept where it's like you can literally bake two games in one, and have like this awesome first person engine with a real time strategy engine. And Call of Duty did some of that in their missions, right? They do
Mhm.
like that top down, and then you zoom in and take
Yep.
shit out. Like I would
Exactly.
love more of that, like inside of like a Company of Heroes game. So
Mhm.
like you can turn the tide yourself on the ground. You don't have to just watch your troops get lit up, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean it's a good concept. I mean, yeah, they've dabbled in that, but I guess nobody's ever really taken it to large scale.
Yeah. I just got, as I was talking about that, I just got this weird urge to play Sea of Thieves. I don't know what the hell
We'll
just
get we'll
happened.
get to see it these.
Oh my God. All right. All right. Let's move on. So I wanted to bring this up again. We talked about this last time. The Assassin's Creed Infinity. And the reason I want to talk about it again is because I was listening to Sacred Symbols, and it just got me thinking again, because they were talking about this service model, and the idea came up of, you know, the online service model. Does that really mean that it's a multiplayer game? Like, what does that actually mean? And we
Hmm.
kind of referenced this, I would say, better than they did,
Hmm.
because we were talking about like having a word, kind of like a map, a world, and using the animus to kind
Hmm.
of jump throughout time and whatnot. And that GTA is going to be doing something like this, right? Where it's going to be all online. Um, now, I started thinking about this, and I have the next piece on our article here, and I think it kind of connects a little bit. And just hear me out here. So, Pro Evolution Soccer is rumored to be going free. Okay, free to play, and I kind of get that because they get their butts kicked to FIFA, and even though they're a great game, so now they're trying something different, aggressive. I don't know how they plan on making money off of this. I assume microtransactions and something annoying that I won't like, but it's a good soccer game in its own right. And now all of a sudden gets my interest. I'm like, I want to play it too now if it's free, but I'll probably still buy both, or at least get one for free and then play and then buy FIFA.
Is it coming out for PC?
It should. It usually does.
Because it's an interesting piece of news came out today that's also related is that on FIFA 22, it's
Mhm.
going to have a DRM in it that limits it to activate on one computer and one computer only.
So they're going the exact opposite way.
Correct. Yeah. So sorry, a little sidebar there, but that they may have known that was happening. Maybe that's why.
They get aggressive with it
Yeah.
and just open it up. I
Similar to
mean,
like an NFL 2K5 Madden 2005 situation.
yeah, that's interesting. And
Yeah.
they're losing the battle in sales. FIFA dominates sales just in general for sports
Hmm.
games. But again, when you're dealing with a product that's high end and you're making it available, we saw what 2K did back in the day, and it forced EA to create a monopoly. Like they went
Right.
all out and they're like, oh, we got to destroy our competition right now. So the reason I bring this up though is I think we might be entering into this service model, not just for Assassin's Creed, but I think we're going to start seeing other games like sports games. We might actually start seeing this. And I don't know if they're going to go free to play, but we might actually start seeing, and maybe this is a little early, but maybe this could be next few years where you're going to see like FIFA, and then FIFA is going to get upgrades. Like you're not going to be buying FIFA 22. Now they still use this, and it supports their sale model, right? And they sell a new model every year. But the idea of having a product out there, reusing assets, like it's becoming more accepted. I feel like that's what Assassin's Creed is talking about. They're like, we already have all these assets. We have the
Mhm.
same engine. Even when we make Assassin's Creed Valhalla and we make Origins, right? And we make what's the other one I was thinking of? Um
Odyssey.
Odyssey, thank you. Odyssey, Origins, Valhalla. This is the same engine. You know what I
Yep.
mean? This is the same engine. They literally do not even need to create multiple games here. They're kind of just packaging them up with a new pretty cover and story base and stuff like that. So like sports games, they constantly get ridiculed for being a roster update. And if you remove that element from it and be like, well, now you're paying for a service, I feel like that there are more games that are going to start moving into this territory. Like Pro Evolution Soccer seems to be moving into that. They might not have an annual release anymore, right? They might not
Yeah.
release any more annual copies. And that's why I was kind of seeing. That's why I was connecting these two. And that's why I wanted to bring it up again. It's like, are we going to start seeing this with other games? Maybe not Call of Duty, but because they make so much money, I don't know why they would change at this point. But
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't think you're going to see it with games like FIFA or Madden.
What about
Uh,
Battlefield?
no, I don't think
It's all
so
online.
either. Yeah, I mean, but I think we touched on this last week talking about Madden, and we just wanted roster updates and the
Yeah.
editions. But they sell 20 million copies. They sell 40 million copies. Why? Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, you're
Why
right.
would you give somebody a $20 upgrade when they're spending 70 anyway?
So right. So maybe those games won't do it,
Right.
right?
It's got to
But
be
their
like Pro,
competitors,
right? Pro Evolution Soccer or I don't know,
that's their only
whatever.
competitor,
Yeah,
really.
whatever.
Unless you're
There's
talking
no
about the
there's no
football
Madden
manager.
competitor. Yeah, not yet anyway. But
Well, that
um,
and that's the idea is like maybe that will be what competes with some of these games that you can't. Like we were talking about Battlefield and we were kind of not ripping on them because the game looks good. I don't think we were saying that it's a bad game, but it's like how do they compete with what Call of Duty is offering for free?
they
You
won't.
know?
Something's going to change between now and release, but it's got to be a Game Pass. But um, I don't know if this is going to be the new norm. It's going to be game by game. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're probably right when we talk about Assassin's Creed Infinity, how it's going to be it's going to be smaller instead of bigger. What you think it's going to be?
Yeah.
You're going to have smaller, self-contained 10-hour chunks of each
Yes.
time period that you're going through, because it's only going to take them like 6 to 8 months to turn out a new Greek island
And
or
that
something.
and that takes skill though. I mean, to that credit to be able to do that. Like look at Final Fantasy games.
Right.
Or a lot of episodic games and how they get delayed and then don't come out and then you wait longer and longer.
Hmm.
Like Assassin's Creed, they've shown the history. Like we can annualize, like we can release a game
Yeah,
every year if we want,
they have multiple teams, but similar to how
but
Call of
they do it
Duty.
right.
Yeah, and they've gotten good at it. I mean, and I think that if they're going to multiple teams on Assassin's Creed Infinity, they're going to be able to say, you're working on Japan, you're working on Paris, World War I,
Right. Exactly.
and then you once you hit out yours, take a couple days off, and then start on the Roman Empire map.
Yeah.
uh, and there'll be smaller things that you pay for. Like you pay for a season pass, or you pay for this, you pay a subscription, and you get access to this maybe. But it's only going to work for certain games. I don't think you're going to see this with Madden or Call of Duty because they make too much money.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's something would have to force them to change. But I was thinking like, so NHL, like the NHL games, let's talk about Madden too, or even I'll talk about them because it's U.S. sports and I know that a little bit better. But like right now, for somebody like me, okay, and I'm a hardcore NHL guy, I buy it even though I know I'm somewhat disappointed by it. And it's mostly a roster update because
Mhm.
it's an engine, even though the next one is gonna be a brand new engine. It's going over to Frostbite, so it's exciting. But the off season is a big part of that game. Like the roster updates during the off season are actually that's like when you can really sell the roster updates because now stuff is changing and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, you can get excited. So like at that point, it's like if you have a service and all of a sudden you're supporting it through the summer, through the off season, and you're supporting it with roster updates and like there's an expansion draft for the NHL, like doing those type of releases, like that actually that can be like just a new way of delivering this product where they've kind of been ignoring this time of year because they're in
Mhm.
like deep development
Yeah.
where really they could be leveraging it and kind of restructuring their release model. I don't know if it actually works for them, but it's like sports games seem to leverage this well. Like Assassin's Creed, quite frankly, I was thinking about what Colin Moriarty was saying, and I actually completely agree with him. It's very impressive to on Ubisoft's part, and like again, I think it's kind of moving away from what I want potentially. But the industry, that series has kind of lost me anyway.
Mhm.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be what gets me back. But it's a very bold move, to sell the most, to have literally the past 3 games is just selling more and more and more. And they go, you know what? We feel that there's a change coming. We're going for it now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
ballsy, it's aggressive, and it could really pay off for them.
I mean, that we talked last week or 2 weeks ago about Microsoft and how they got into the services game early, and it paid off for them
Yeah.
with the Game Pass and all this stuff. So yeah, it could, and hopefully it does because I'm a big fan of the series, despite still not playing Valhalla.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been thinking about that. I feel like you'll enjoy Valhalla again because I think so. Your expectations aren't that high for it, and I think you like the previous games more than I did.
Yeah, I like it. I'm sure.
But it does become more digestible. Like if because Valhalla is humongous of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much in there to play, and if they do give these smaller, more refined experiences, and they release them every 6 to 8 months, like that's more tenable for me.
Yeah.
That like so maybe that's what they're seeing. Maybe that's something they're seeing in their analytics that majority of the people they're buying this game, but they're not finishing it, or they're putting like 20 hours into it and they're done. Like I put 35 hours into the game, but I barely got through the story, you know?
Right.
And they're
Yeah,
seeing
but
that. They're definitely seeing that in their
oh
numbers.
yeah, they see the metrics.
So they're seeing all this content they're making. They're seeing that probably only 50% at most of people are finishing it. So they're probably
Right.
like, let's just release it in smaller chunks, which is funny because Telltale, I would say maybe that even hurt Telltale back in the day because they kept releasing. They never fixed their engine. They just kept using the
Right.
same engine over and over again, and then just kind of disappeared in the wind.
Well, also, I mean, that's a strict narrative game. People didn't buy those games for the gameplay.
Yeah,
So, breaking up your story into chunks like that, I think hurt them.
yeah. Even though I will say, and you know what, it definitely did because I didn't. I loved, and I was going to use as my game recommendation, but I changed it. I loved the first Walking Dead game.
Mhm.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
I
it's good.
never played beyond that.
Mm.
I played a little bit of The Wolf Among Us. Also
Okay.
was very cool. Stopped playing it. I have the
Yeah.
Batman one for free. Didn't play it. I didn't
Played a
play
little
the
bit
Game
of
of
it.
Thrones. Yeah, it's like I feel like the episodic thing loses you at a certain point too.
Yeah.
So they're really gonna have to find a nice balance there. It's gonna be a risky move, but I find it bold and I like it, and I like what Pro Evolution is doing too. If they really do go free to play, and they don't do it like a generic way, it could pay off for them immensely. Like I
Mm.
don't know what they're gonna do to make money though. You know what I mean? They're gonna have some kind of online mode that's gonna be like Hut or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, Foot or whatever.
Uh, yeah. Ultimate Team.
I hate Ultimate Team though. It's my least favorite part of the sports games. Like literally, I could care less about it, and it's just a money growing thing. All right, anything else to say about that? Otherwise, we move on.
Nah.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. Ghostwire Tokyo, delayed until 2022. This is a first person game with a lot of style,
Mhm.
a lot of action. It looks really freaking cool. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
be
it looks
honest with
awesome.
you. Looks really, really cool. I don't know too much about it beyond just seeing the trailer, but again, just grab this little bit from YouTube here. Tokyo is overrun by deadly supernatural forces after 99% of the city's population vanished. Use a powerful arsenal of spectral abilities to fight the paranormal threat and unravel the mystery behind the mass disappearance. I mean, right off the bat, I love that idea of a story. I love the idea of being somewhere and not knowing what's going on. I mean, that just reminds me of BioShock, and you see some of that too with some of like the hand, like magic that you can do. It brought back a little bit of BioShock there. It looks
Yeah.
really cool. So a little bit disappointed it's delayed, but I don't think it's necessarily a problem. Like it'll probably end up being a better game. What do you think?
Yeah. Xbox Game Studio, Bethesda game being delayed on PlayStation. That's a shame. Um, it does look
I
awesome.
love the way you say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Microsoft owned game delayed on PlayStation. Um, it's delayed. I mean, this and Deathloop are the two remaining Bethesda game holdovers that are
Yep.
going to be on PlayStation. And just like Deathloop, I anticipate Ghostwire Tokyo will be on PC. I don't know if you noticed, but in the Deathloop, actually, we're going to get to that in a minute, but
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But in the Deathloop deep dive in the direct, they weirdly put in the fine print that it was a 1 year timed exclusive for
Yeah.
PlayStation. I don't think they had an option. Why would you do that if you had an option?
Yeah.
So I think Xbox is exerting some influence over these release dates of these games and the marketing of these games. Uh, why would you tell these PlayStation people at their own direct that the game is a 1 year exclusive?
Yeah.
So
I think
it's
you're
jumping a
spot
little bit
on.
ahead, but yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo looks awesome. Reminded me of a little bit of what like a mix between a Prey
Mm.
and what I think Red was it Red Dawn, the new Bethesda game they
Redfall,
announced? Redfall.
Red Dawn.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny.
just yeah.
Red Dawn needs a video game.
It has a video game. It's called Homefront. Um, yeah, no, I think it looks great. It's a shame it's delayed, but whatever, get it done, do it right.
There's enough. There's enough games to play in between, but
Plenty of games.
yeah. But does you know what I love though? Man, I've actually been hankering shooters all of a sudden of late, and shooters with story and style. After all these free to play shooters, like it's right up my alley.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
have a PlayStation, you'll be able to play it. I have a PC, I'll be able to play it.
I have a PC too. I
Yeah.
got by. I only play shooters on PC, honestly. It's so
Well,
much better on
you're an
PC.
adult. Yeah, I get
Yeah. Yeah, only adults, mouse and keyboard, yo.
it. Same reason I use Android. I'm not a
Yeah.
child.
I have an iPhone and I have a Mac and PC. I have everything. I even have an Android phone backup. But yeah, it looks really cool. And yeah, we'll look out for it. I mean, 2022 is gonna be just smacked with games.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a complete cluster of releases.
it could rival some of the greatest years in gaming if
Yeah,
everything sticks.
because of the delays of
Hmm.
2021, and there
Hmm.
are probably some more delays that we're not even aware of. Like God of War has not been officially delayed. You know what I
It has.
mean?
It has.
Did they
Yeah,
delay it
yeah,
to 22 already
yeah.
officially?
Horizon's the one they haven't officially
Oh,
delayed
right.
yet.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
delay that. I don't think Halo will be delayed at this point. I think they would have announced it, but
it's not getting delayed.
the fact that they didn't give a date, it's just like still tentative. But I'm sure that's for different.
Starfield has a date, but
Yeah,
Halo doesn't
which
have a date.
is absolutely insane. But I think that has to do more of like Microsoft Studio versus Bethesda Studio and what they're willing to say. I think
Yeah.
that's what that's really about. But I do think 2022 looks to be just a really strong year, and most likely Breath of the Wild 2. If it comes out in 2022, fingers crossed. But again, you're looking at a year
With the
that,
Switch Pro.
yeah, right. Well, I don't think Switch Pro is coming. I think they're just doing Switch 2. I don't think we're getting a Pro model. I think Bloomberg dropped the ball on that one, and that's why I don't like rumors. But
We can talk about that later, but I don't think they dropped the ball. I think they were right with the information they had. I think things changed with the chip shortage.
then that might be true, actually.
I think they couldn't source the processors, they couldn't source the RAM, so they just said, "What can we source? We can get a kickstand, we can get a speaker."
Yeah.
We got all these old Samsung tablet screens we can throw in there. Let's do it.
I mean, it's the same.
Yeah.
We can talk about it real quick because we're
All
gonna go
right.
into PlayStation after this. I mean, it's the same console,
Mm-hmm.
just optimized for mobile.
It's not optimized for shit. It's just got
Well,
an
the
addition.
OLED, the kickstand.
Yeah, it's a Vita.
Oh, and you sent me that article about because I was talking about maybe they don't want to publicly state about the drift fix in the controllers.
Yeah, they didn't fix any drift.
They didn't fix it. At least
They
they
didn't
didn't
fix
publicly
anything.
announce it.
Why wouldn't you? They haven't said anything.
Because they're getting sued.
Yeah, so
Well, if they publicly announce it, they can use that against them in court.
whatever.
Because then they admit that there's a problem. That's what I was thinking.
That's why you never say you're sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that they were planning. There was too many rumors about a Pro, about the processors and the DLSS and all this stuff. There's too much. So I think that they were planning on doing it, but they couldn't guarantee the supply chain to get these parts. So they said, what can we definitely get into the wild for Christmas? And the answer was a better screen, different color, speakers, and the kickstand and the dock.
Yeah. I think you make a great point. But if we do look at precedent with Nintendo, they typically do release like a half, not even a half, like a quarter. They just release like a more optimized version a lot of times.
Yeah, but like you also got to think those other consoles that they've done this to were not also playing next gen games. So you weren't like you got Doom Eternal on this thing, and you've got
But they have the cloud processing. They're like relying on that. You don't think?
they don't know cloud shit. They have a
Yeah,
couple
they do.
They have a couple games that run on the cloud, like Assassin's Creed or
Yeah.
um, Resident
I
Evil
thought Doom
7.
does too. Doom
No,
doesn't?
Doom is local.
Oh,
Doom
right,
is
because they
Doom
did
is
30,
Doom.
and they reduced it to 30 frames a second instead of 60.
Yeah, like Wolfenstein's on there, Wolfenstein 2, like Subnautica, like these crazy games are on there. You weren't getting like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 on the 3DS.
Well, it seems to me like this is really a release that will supplement whatever, because it doesn't seem like they think that this will sell to people who already own the Switch. I feel like the Switch 2 or whatever the hell is going to be is probably coming in a year and a half from now, something like that.
Sequel. Yeah, it'll come. I mean, yeah, it'll be a Switch 2, whatever it is. But
And that'll be the Pro, whatever we have in mind of the Pro, which will probably still be not a full step. Like they never release a console with the power that we expect.
no.
It has never happened. So it's almost like the next Switch will still be somewhat behind when it comes
Mhm,
to our expectations of the hardware.
for
Like,
sure.
you know, it'll probably be like as powerful as like an Oculus. All right, let's move on to the state of play.
Yeah.
So this happened last week when we actually the day we released our
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
so we didn't really get to talk about any of the games. Um, wasn't the It looked like PlayStation was kind of just doing their thing, to be honest with you. They're kind of even ignoring E3. It wasn't really a response to E3 in any kind of way, and you could tell because they set the expectations that there were no Horizon, no PSVR, and no God of War preview there, which I think was smart to tell people ahead of time. And that way people aren't disappointed and waiting for like, that big drop. The
Hmm.
big kind of showing there was Deathloop, and we'll go over
Hmm.
that last. So let me just, I guess we'll go through the list and we'll go through Deathloop last. We don't know that much about a lot of these games, so we're just kind of talking out of our ass. Um, but Moss Book 2, this is a PSVR title for the original game, sequel, I mean, for the original game. I didn't play Moss. I don't even have a PSVR, but I think it's a sign that obviously PSVR 2 is coming around the corner. I don't know if this is going to coincide with the release. Probably not.
No,
Um,
it's coming out earlier.
yeah,
But
it's coming out earlier, but you have to figure that the PSVR 2 is coming out relatively soon and will be announced next year, especially if they're releasing games for it too. Game looks quirky, looks cool. I never played the original, so I don't know that much about it. What did you get a chance to? Do you know anything about it? I guess beyond what I do.
yeah, I saw it. I mean, Moss is like it's a size-growing platformer in VR. Those games are actually pretty cool in VR, where you can look around
Yep.
corners and judge the jumps better. If you look at the trailer, it at the bottom, the fine print says it's in development for PSVR. They captured this gameplay demo on PC. So they didn't even show the PSVR.
Yeah.
So clearly the primary development on this is PC VR. Um, it's
Wonder
not
why.
going to launch. It's going to launch for PC VR and PSVR, and clearly they will upgrade it to the PSVR too. Um, that's the reason they showed
Director's
that.
cut.
Yeah, director's cut. I mean, it's the reason they showed this on PC. This is probably what it will look like on the PSVR too. I can't say that. So I don't think it'll
That's a good
coincide with
point.
the race for PSVR, but this whatever they showed here, this demo that they captured on PC is probably what you're gonna look
PSVR.
forward to at PSVR too.
Yeah. Which, to be honest with you, I might actually buy the PSVR too. I like depending
You
on
have a
what it
Quest.
is.
You have a Quest 2 and a GTX 3070. What are you crazy?
Yeah. I love wasting my money on stuff
Yeah,
I don't use.
yeah, have fun with that. I
Yeah.
mean, the game looks cool. I don't think I played the original. I may have a little bit. I played a lot of VR games back in the day on PC on Quest with
Do you
remote
think they'll
play.
release it on PC too?
Oh, it's definitely coming to PC.
Yeah.
They said the gameplay
It's a
was
third
captured on
party.
PC.
It's third party game, right? It's not
Yeah, no,
PlayStation Studio.
it's gonna come out for PC. It's
Yeah.
just a matter. I'm sure it'll be day and date. I don't think there's an install base that they can just release to PlayStation
PSVR.
VR right now.
Unless it's a PlayStation Studio where they have it
Yeah,
locked up. But it
no,
makes sense. I mean, you
yeah,
have to utilize all of the outlets for VR. You know what I mean?
right.
Unless
Um,
you have an exclusive deal.
that's why I think with Insomniac being with PlayStation, because they made a couple VR games for Oculus.
Mm.
I think Insomniac, the next VR game they make, comes to PC as well, in addition to PSVR.
It's you think it'll be time though?
No.
No, just day one
Mm-hmm.
PC. Yeah, it's tough because the VR market it's big, but it's not that big, and it's only big because you include everything. You know, like the
Spread out.
Oculus. Yeah, like the PSVR did very well. But the Oculus is
Mm-hmm.
growing, and Facebook has all this money, and the PC market just keeps growing. And now that it's literally $300 to get a viable like VR experience, like the Oculus Quest. If you guys have not used it, if anybody's listening to this, like, and you are interested in getting into VR, I mean, it's
Quest 2.
100% worth it. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, the VR market's a lot like the Android market. I use this as an example a lot. They always tout there's like 4 billion Android phones in the world.
yeah,
Okay, well, how many of them are Samsung? How many of them
yeah,
are LG? How many of them are whatever? And how many are within the last 4 years or 5 years? And yeah, there's 4 billion of them.
yeah,
But if you release a game that only plays on 20 million of them, like, well, what's that 4 billion really get you? So
true.
yeah, there are a lot of PSVR headsets in the world, but you got the Vive, you got the Vive Pro, the Rift, the S, Quests, PSVR. I mean, there's so many headsets. You gotta just shotgun it to everything.
Yep.
So I don't think they get it with releasing Moss Book 2 on just PSVR, especially since it came out for PC already, the
Mm,
original.
yeah, and it's right now that market, the PSVR or the VR market is one of those things where like you got to be aggressive because there's a
Hmm.
lot of games coming out, and like I have trouble keeping up with the games that are out there. There's only a few high fidelity games, that like everybody knows of. So you really got to get your stuff out there, and you got to make it available everywhere. So just hopefully it catches. And I wouldn't be surprised. I forget the name of the studio that did Population One, but
Mm,
with
the one that
Facebook,
Facebook bought, yeah.
yeah, I assume whatever that they're working on next, that'll be exclusive to the Quest will probably be a high fidelity game. Maybe it'll be a free to play even potentially.
The
But
Facebook and Oculus Studios will be exclusive to the Oculus and Facebook.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but what they'll be releasing will be something to try to get people on Oculus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is the only reason you do exclusive
Mhm.
at this point with PlayStation VR because you can't afford, or I'm sorry, with VR because you can't afford to do that. All right. Anything else you want to say about that? Otherwise, we'll move on.
Nah.
All right. Then let's go on to Demon Slayer, the the Hinokami Chronicles. This is like an anime type fighting game with story. I, to
I,
me, I don't. It's
I don't want to talk about something I have zero interest in.
yeah, exactly. Let's
So
leave it at that. If you're interested in it, check it out. Very anime heavy and
I'm sure there's an audience for it, and it's just not
definitely,
me.
yeah, it's not us.
If it comes out and it's like the greatest game in history, then yeah, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's move on to Tribes of Midgar. This was the top-down game, I believe.
Hmm.
This looks cool. I wouldn't say it's for me. It's multiplayer game launching season one. So again, more of that service-based model stuff.
Yeah.
Looks cool. Probably will never play it. And kind of a representation of what this show is kind of like. Like they called it indies, but none of these are really indie games.
Mm-mm.
So they're just kind of like lower grade or mid-tier double A type of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stylistically, I liked it,
Yeah, it's great
but
style, great art style.
yeah, actually,
I won't play it, but it
yeah,
looks great.
exactly. Like, there's too many of these games at this point where it's like I don't have the time to play stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's go on to the next one. This is one game that I think interests a lot of people and
Hmm.
has, as fact as style go, this game has got a lot of style.
Yep.
So Sifu new gameplay revealed in what was really cool trailer. I really really like the trailer.
Hmm.
The game just looks really awesome. The gameplay looks really tight and impactful. It kind of reminds you of The Last of Us in a little bit, where like every hit kind of jars the camera and you feel the impact
Hmm.
with the physicality of the game. There's so much style put into that aspect of the game, but it's not necessarily like just grounded or anything like that. Um, we'll get into the next part. But they did announce that the game is delayed,
Sure did.
which somewhat unfortunate. But again, another 2022 game, probably right. So a game that looks cool. Do you want to talk about the delay since you were the one kind of watching it live and I had work at the time, so I missed it?
Yeah, I'll talk about the delay. This is your E3 press conference.
I don't think they treated it as that.
Okay,
I
this
think
is
they were
this
just
is
being ignorant.
so let me just talk about this conference as a whole. Microsoft and Bethesda come out and give one of the greatest shows ever in gaming history. Game, bangers, exclusive Game Pass.
Yeah.
This, that, this is coming out this year. This is coming out this year. This is what's in development. Release dates, Starfield, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
PlayStation silent, completely silent, and then comes out with the show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games that they showed total. One of them is a PS5 game. One.
And one of them is also belongs to Microsoft now.
And one of them is owned by Microsoft. So all these games, Sifu is coming to both, I believe it is. Yeah. So on one of these games, the director's cut of Death Stranding is the PlayStation 5 game, unless I'm post a comment if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the only one.
And that's a PS4 game, let's be honest.
Yes. So this is what they came out with. And then not only that, getting back to what we were just talking about, they announce a delay of the game in this conference that everyone is most excited about. Not ahead of time. They could have gotten out ahead of it and like 2 days before been like Sifu's delayed.
They did with the expectations of the other games too. So it's like
Sifu's delayed, everyone. We're going to show it, but it's delayed. They wait till the end of the trailer where the release dates usually show up. And they show 2021, which is the previously announced date. And then they just roll it to 2022. Like we're supposed to be happy about that.
Like it's like a selling feature.
Yeah.
But
like
wait, there's more.
They're like, remember when we told you it was 2021? Go fuck yourself. It's early 2022.
Get excited.
Why even say that now? Lie to us again. Say 2021 and then announce a delay in 3 or 4 weeks. Like this is not the time to be doing that.
Yeah, it almost deflates the gameplay trailer.
Now all anybody's talking about is Sifu looks great. It's still in 2022.
It's interesting because it's almost like Sony's, I don't want to say bowing out of the year, but competitively, like they're not fighting. They're almost like, well, next year will be our year. Or we're already leading in sales.
They've got to have shit they could show. They have to have.
They do.
I don't understand. Why are you letting Microsoft just control the year? Why are you letting them control everything?
Because Microsoft was more prepared.
Because so it's just going back to Sifu. I don't want to get too far off the rails because we do have to end this at some point tonight. I'm concerned.
You never go short.
I know. I'm concerned that it's just going to be a bunch of rooms that you go into and fight, and you just go from one room to the other, and there's not much more than that. The combat looks great. I'm sure it'll have a decent narrative. I am worried it's.
What do you think about the age mechanic?
It's interesting. Yeah, because you'll probably start out young, and you won't have a lot of moves, and you get your ass kicked a lot, and then you get older and older, and then there'll be a plateau, and then you'll start to decrease again. But your skill by that time will have increased to a point where even if your physical strength or whatever is decreasing, your skill playing the game that much has increased, so you'll be able to compensate. I think it's interesting.
It could ruin the game though, too.
It could. I mean, how many times do you die 100 times in a game though, or 60 times or 70 times?
Depends how hard the game is.
I mean, you're pretty bad at games, so it's possible. Yeah. It's just I'm concerned it's just gonna be a bunch of rooms like the Daredevil hallway fight from the TV show where you beat up a bunch of guys and you go into the next set piece. You beat up a bunch of guys and go to the next set piece. There's nothing between them.
Yep.
And I haven't seen anything that tells me otherwise. There's a lot of like parkour stuff I saw, but it almost looked like cutscene or interstitial between two.
Yeah.
It's just looks good though.
It does look
I'm interested. I'll look forward to that in 2022.
Does it look like a $70 game to you?
No.
So that'll be an issue, right? If they charge $70 for it.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Exactly.
Maybe it'll be on Game Pass. Who knows?
That's like you look forward to everything being on Game Pass now.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one. This is F.I.S.T. Forged in Shadow Torch. So they showed off a pretty generous trailer actually. It's a side scroller Metroidvania type of game with furry characters in a a realistic looking bunny looks to be the hero. Kind of remind me of like Jazz Jack Rabbit type of character.
Biomutant, yeah.
Yeah, or Biomutant, right? I will say the game looks beautiful. Reminds me of like Abe's Odyssey type of
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
in that style. Probably not a game that I will play. I don't think. But looked cool. It looked like
Yeah,
it should garner some interest. What do you think?
it looks great. I mean, I keep talking about Game Pass. Like, this is the kind of game that should be on PS
Game Pass.
Now or
Yes,
PS Plus and
they
let people
really
play
need
it
it.
for free. I don't think you're gonna sell this game. I mean, people will buy it, but there's too much.
As we're talking, like they really need to combat Game Pass with something like that, where maybe it doesn't have to come out initially. Like Fist doesn't come out day one for whatever PS Now or whatever they want to call their service model, because they're working on something. Um, but eventually, 6 months later, because that's the only way I would play a game like this, right? Don't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And so they are doing a little bit with PS Now. So the PS Now games for this month were very interesting. Sorry, I'm just getting to them.
You mean PlayStation
So
Plus?
no, PS Now.
Oh, okay.
So their streaming service. So God of War is on PS Now this month. Judgment, the Sega Yakuza franchise.
Okay.
Moving Out, Neo 2, Red Dead
Mm,
Redemption 2.
that's impressive.
But Red Dead Redemption 2 is not streaming. You have to download it. The
I mean,
one of the benefits of PS Now is you can go into anywhere and play.
yeah, but I prefer the downloading model. Like
You
that's what I like about Game Pass. I don't want to stream my games for the
but
most part.
what if you wanted to? What if you're going to Israel with an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller and you wanted to play Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yeah, on my MacBook or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean they're doing some good things, good games this month, but interesting decisions.
they have to be working on something that they're not telling us about.
Okay.
I mean, look, you can only get your ass kicked on this front for so long without being like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, how long can you really hold off?
I don't think they have the capital to fight this battle. I think they're just trying to survive.
Yeah, but they have the exclusives to do it, and they
Show
have
them. Show them.
yeah, but they have older exclusives to put in this library. You know what I mean? Like when I got my PS5, it comes with a bunch of games for free.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, I got a bunch of very good games for free. Like you didn't have to buy a single game with your console to enjoy it.
No.
Which, if you remember back in the day, it was like, what do you play? Now all of a sudden you get Uncharted. You
Yeah.
get all the Uncharted games for free immediately. You get the original Last of Us. You get Monster Hunter.
I mean, that was a good thing they put out, but
But that's
what
a
have you done?
response to
What have you done for me
Xbox.
lately? Like you gotta,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Don't you feel like they're bowing out of this year? Like they're just like, yeah, we know. You know what I mean? Because they're not even responding. They're not even like this showcase is not a response to Microsoft.
No,
It's just not.
it's something that you would expect to see on a Tuesday in
They're
March.
just like,
Like,
yeah, we're
yeah,
on with the show, everybody. You know what I mean? Which is concerning. Don't get me wrong, but it makes me think that they're pushing this problem off to 2022. They're like, we got to get our ducks in a row. Like, I'm
well,
not saying they have it all together, but
they better show up at Gamescom or E3 next year or something because just they can't keep this up.
I would love for them to come back to E3. I'm not happy that they bowed out of E3. Like I don't blame them for doing it. I'm not
This
necessarily
year
saying
I
it's the
do.
dumbest thing.
This year I do.
Well, they didn't have anything.
They have stuff. They have stuff.
Yeah, but
They're
they didn't have
choosing not.
anything for E3.
They do. They're choosing not to show it.
I guess they could have built something around Horizon. It would
Put
have
up some
definitely.
logos. Do the Horizon deep dive at E3, dude.
Yeah, dude. Why didn't they do that?
I get the God of War was supposed to be out this year. There's gameplay somewhere of that game.
Oh,
Like, come on,
100%. 100%. And
come on.
there's a bunch of games they didn't even show us yet.
Don't tell me that they don't
And
have it.
there's and they could have showed us early models of PSVR too.
Yeah, they have stuff. They're choosing not to do it for
That's
whatever
what I'm
reason.
saying. So why we have to ask ourselves why. They're not stupid. They
Mm,
didn't dominate the last generation for no reason.
mm.
Like they really dominated. And
Microsoft handed them the first 6 months.
they
TV,
did, but
TV, TV, TV.
yeah, but again, like PlayStation, like look at the way they responded to Xbox. and Microsoft. Like their responses were perfect. Like even that video that they had about sharing games where they just did that whole, oh yeah, we're just
Right, but how I mean, yes, that's the Sony you remember. Now, how about the Sony where they charge you $10 to upgrade to the PS5 version of games, or
yeah,
$20 or whatever? When Xbox is like, yeah, you buy
doing
a
it for
game
free.
once, you get it, yeah, like, and you don't have to download the PS4 version, then the PS5 version. You don't have to do like on Xbox, you just download the game, and or if you launch it on
Yeah,
Xbox
yeah,
Series X, it's, I mean,
you're not
so
wrong.
yes, they did some stuff that was good in that last generation, but I don't know. I don't know. All right,
They
let's
do
get
tend
out
to
of here.
shit the bed on every other generation. So let's hope that doesn't continue. All right, let's move on to the next one. Jet. This is like a flight type of game, third person. Kind of like a hybrid of like No Man's Sky meets Journey in a way. You know, if you really like think about it.
Flower, yeah.
If maybe Flower as well. I love the way the game looks. Looks very pretty.
Looks
I feel like
beautiful.
this is a
Yeah.
game you might enjoy.
Thank you very much, so.
Yeah. I think it's something that I think is pretty cool. I love flying games.
No
But I
weapons. You
didn't notice a
just
lot of killing, and that's
there's no weapons. You know weapons.
yeah, yeah. See, and you lose me when there's no violence in a game. I have
Yeah.
hard time playing it. What'd you think?
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Looks fun. I'll never play it, but it is the kind of game I would like.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those things that again, if it was on Game Pass, you'd probably give it a chance.
or I mean, maybe even not. It's just it. I don't know if I'd ever have the time to play a game like that when
Yeah.
I have like Sea of Thieves or
Oh, Sea of Thieves is so good.
Company Heroes or anything like that. Like I don't. I just don't see myself being like, I don't know. Maybe if Oliver like shits all over me one day and I'm just like feeling frustrated as shit, I'll just load up a game like this and just fly around a planet and just try and calm myself down. But
We have to play Sea of Thieves this weekend. That's all I can think about right now.
I'm ready to go, dude.
All right.
I was trolling for some pirate booty earlier today. I had Reaper up. I was sailing around. I made myself visible to everyone on the map. I'm like, come get me.
Well, I got my other two podcasts, but should be able to do it at night. So we'll talk about that. But
Uh,
we'll talk more. We'll put up more streams of us playing too. All right, let's move. Let's keep rolling here. So Death Stranding director cut was shown. Looks like a bunch of new content is being announced. A $10 upgrade, which honestly, with new content, Ben, I think is fair. I don't think if it was just like converting it to a PS5 version, they've done a lot of PS5 upgrades for free with games. But
mhm.
like the Ghost of Tsushima upgrade, I think is a little unacceptable with the price range that they're bringing out with that, and that is annoying.
Yeah.
It's very annoying to me. So, uh, it's not something that it's not something that I'm really excited about. I don't want to pay more money for that game. So we'll see how I feel about that. But I haven't played Death Stranding yet. This might be something. It looks like it's adding more action oriented
Yeah.
stuff.
Combat weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is a good move because again, like I was saying before, the game doesn't have a lot of killing. It
Hmm.
usually loses me. And I was already interested in playing this game, so I think this is already something that'll probably lean me into. All right, it's time to play this one. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Did you get to play Death Stranding?
I did not. I did not have interest in it. I still don't. But um, so I won't say I don't have any interest in it. But I don't think I am willing to put the time in to play the game through to completion, which I think is necessary in a game like this. Um, I think they're making good moves with adding the more combat stuff. A lot of the complaints people had in the first game was, you, you were really just like a taxi driver or an Uber for packages, and there was nothing in between. You come across these people and these things that you can fight a little bit, but not really. And it looked up there had machine guns and all kinds of crazy combat stealth mechanics. And um, I think he just went full Metal Gear Solid with it, which is a good thing. There's a racetrack in there. There's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they definitely added a lot of content. This is not just an next gen upgrade. This isn't like an expansion almost. So
Mm-hmm.
I can see them charging a couple bucks for it.
Yeah,
There's
I
some
think
there's some shekels at them if you haven't played yet. Yeah.
yeah, and I heard Kojima doesn't even like that it's called director's cut. So and
Yeah,
that's
and
just like a
obviously not
Sony
his
thing.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Sony thing. So again, I again $10 I think is completely fine for
Hmm.
what they're doing. I think that makes complete sense to me. but the Ghost of Tsushima, $10 for a PS5 upgrade, which some cool upgrades, and then another 20 for the content. It's like that's like why I didn't buy Final Fantasy VII's DLC. I was like, I don't want to pay $20 for $5
gouging, dude.
I was like, I would have paid $10 for it, but they did give me the PS5 upgrade for free. So it's like, which again, it's enough. Eventually, I'll buy it, but I'll buy it on sale. Like I'm not buying it full price. All right, let's move on from Death Stranding. Arcageddon is another one. I can't tell what this game is, and honestly, I could care less.
Arcadegeddon.
Thank you. Looks like
it's like Splatoon meets dodgeball meets.
It could be cool, but it's not for me. Looks
could
like
be,
it was
won't
online
be. Could be. Yeah.
game. I don't know if that's the type of online game that I care about. And I don't know if that's one that's really going to move the needle in any kind of way. But I think, is this a game that's coming out for free as well?
Don't have the answer to that question.
I think it might be coming out for free as well in the beginning of August. You might not even have to pay for this game. It might be. I
think it's in early access already on PC.
Okay.
It is on the Epic Game Store.
Okay.
It's $20 on Epic Game Store early access.
Okay. Cheap game, but not for me. And I don't care about it. And I assume you feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next game I think I care even less about. Hunter's Arena Legends. Jesus Christ, what a terrible trailer. I mean, the game looks okay, but the whatever that is, just enough. Sorry if I'm insulting anybody, but I couldn't tell what it was. Looks like just a bunch of action and fighting, and terrible name for a game.
Yes. So Lost Judgment.
Exactly. And then we'll get to Lost Judgment. I didn't really understand what Lost Judgment is. Story-based game.
I think it's a spin-off of Yakuza, the series I have not played.
Right.
That's a lot of people are very excited about this.
This could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting to me.
Yeah.
It looks like heavy story. And I'm all about story.
Yeah. Investigation mechanics in there.
He's a lawyer or something, and he's doing. It looks interesting.
That looks interesting.
And it looks serious. It looks like the gameplay looks crazy with the mini games and all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah. It'll probably sell well.
I'm sure it will, and it looks awesome. I mean,
just not a showstopper for me. Probably not something I would play.
I don't have the history with the Yakuza games, so I don't really know the backstory. I'm sure you don't need it for this game, but
yeah,
looks good. Good showing. Yeah, the people who are interested in this are probably very excited.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the main, I guess, point of the showcase. This was Deathloop. They had a 9-minute gameplay trailer. Again, I think we've seen enough of this game, but the game looks very cool. Stylistically, it's beautiful. The gameplay looks great. Looks like, a lot of Dishonored in the game itself, but action oriented. And Dishonored for me was too stealthy personally, even though the game style wise was right up my alley, story wise, right up my alley, dialogue, all that stuff was great. But I have so much trouble with stealth games. I'm just too freaking impatient for them. But the game looks very cool. Ben, I think this is a game you'll probably like more than I like.
Yeah, but I will 100% be playing this. I'll be playing it day one on PC because it is available on PC, as this PlayStation 5 trailer has told me it is available on PC. It also has told me it will be available on other consoles September 14, 2022.
And they're definitely obligated to tell us that.
Correct. So, I mean, it looks awesome, looks beautiful. It looks like a Bethesda game, looks like an Arcane game. It has the Dishonored style. I had the same thought. I think Colin may have brought it up. I had the exact same thought that this may have been Dishonored 3 at one point, and it got.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I thought that one was first shown off. I'm like, I wonder if this was Dishonored 3 in some fashion, and they modified it.
Because Dishonored doesn't sell well.
Yeah, because they've already said that Dishonored is on shelved for right now. So I mean, you literally have the teleport powers you have in Dishonored. I mean, it's it looks awesome. I'll play it. Stop showing me it.
Yeah, I honestly think they're oversharing.
Yeah.
I think they need to stop showing it all.
Hey, stop being so thirsty. People will buy this game. It looks good.
Yeah.
PC
and it's all over their store. You could have bought it on sale a while ago. So just get it. Stop showing it off. Keep the mystery.
Microsoft gets 66% of every copy sold. So buy it.
PlayStation, like, oh, and by the way, I think there is some news there about Housemarque and how they were approached by other studios.
Yeah.
2 foreign studios and 1 companies, not studios, and
10,
2.
10 Cent and Embracer.
Yeah, exactly. And then we don't know who the American studio is, and there's guesses, but I do think it was Microsoft. And I think Sony's like, no, 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 no. Like, we have the relationship with you. Let's just do this. I think Microsoft's buying. Dude, I get like emails from my boss all the time. Microsoft buys this company, this company. They're right now one of the most aggressive companies in the world. If they can steal a studio from Sony just to dig it to them, I think they would do it and take the loss. Look what they did with Skype. They bought Skype and just shit all over that thing.
I don't think there was any chance that Housemarque was gonna sell to
I don't think so either.
Xbox.
But you think they would try? Maybe not a serious try.
They may have shopped the offer. They may have listened to offers and went to Sony and
Yeah.
been like, "Hey, look, Microsoft's offering us like two million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
what
but
can you do?"
again, I think Sony's making good moves with buying those smaller studios and investing in growing those studios like a sports prospect. You get them while they're young, build them up in a larger studio, and by the end, they're probably releasing AAA games for you that'll sell millions of copies.
Mhm.
All right. Let's take a quick break here, unless you have something else you want to talk about, Deathloop.
Also available on PC, coming to other consoles September 14th,
Yeah,
2022.
we're gonna say that about every PlayStation game in a few years. All right, let's take a break here, and then we'll be right back. All right, back here to close this one up. All right, want to talk now that we're through State of Play. I just want to reference this. The Last of Us TV show did announce that it's going to be 10 episodes.
Mhm.
One, it means that they've obviously finished the script and everything, and they're continuing filming, which we know. We've seen some screenshots. Though the reason I wanted to bring this up, typically, if a show is if the publication, right, in this case it's HBO, if they're more hesitant on the title, they'll release 8 episodes. And the fact that they're doing a full 10 makes me think that internally this is going well. Um, and the reason I think it's good is because it's a video game property, and the likelihood of that being screwed up is like 3 times as higher as everything else. So I think it's a good sign. Um, are you excited about this show, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's been great. We know it's going to be following the story of the first game.
Yeah.
10 episodes is great. I also think they can, if they had money for 8, I think it's an easy show to expand to 10. A lot of character moments. You can have a lot of
Yep.
monologues, a lot of, Joel and Ellie in one room
And they're gonna be
talking to
hour
each
long.
other.
They're gonna be
Yeah,
hour-long
hour long.
episodes.
First game was what, like 13 hours, 10, 12 hours.
For you, probably.
I
For me,
mean,
it
and
was
that
like 16.
well, that's playing too. So
Yeah,
a TV show is always going to be able to cut that short. I mean, you're basically just watching a bunch of
absolutely.
cutscenes with like quick action scenes in between. So they can easily get the entire first
But
game in
a
10
lot of the
episodes.
gameplay does have the narrative baked into it too, though, right? Like they have like the fighting, and then something will happen within there that'll create like some kind of scene. Like you can turn the fight scenes into actual scenes, right? It's probably gonna
Right.
be action heavy to some degree.
It'll be action heavy, but it's not. I don't think it's going to take a lot of post production. I think they're going to use a lot of practical makeup and stuff to do this. A
Yeah,
lot of darkness, so you don't have to really.
it could be a real home run, especially
Yeah.
for PlayStation to sell the Last of Us series. I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
I mean,
this
Neil's involved in it, like heavily. So I mean,
yes, and the director's top notch.
the story's there. I mean, they did
Yeah.
the hardest part is done. It's the
The
best part of the
dialogue
game.
of the
Yeah.
game, it's not like a typical game where where you're taking Assassin's Creed, you got to rewrite it. Like literally, you're better off just taking the dialogue from the
Yeah, just
game.
copy it,
Some
copy
of the
and paste.
best writing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Um, and again, Last of Us 2 writing was exceptional. It's like you have it for you already. Like it's there, it's laid out for you. So, but yeah, I thought it was good that they have 10 episodes and not 8. I thought that was a really good sign. I think it just means that HBO is invested in it, and that could be a big like if Last of Us is a big TV show, you're talking about that is something that would boost PlayStation sales, in my opinion, because it would increase
Mhm.
interest in that brand like we have not seen.
Yeah.
And if they ever announce factions, that would get people on factions immediately as well, especially if it's potentially a free to play, but I don't think it will
Yeah.
be.
On Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, on Game Pass. All right, and the last one here, the Little Devil Inside. This is a game that I'm very excited about. It was a Kickstarter. The reason I bring it up is because it's supposed to come out this month, and PlayStation announced that a while ago. It was in one of their showcases. I believe one of maybe their last State of Play. And yeah, no updates, no release date, and it's July 13th. So at least announce a delay or something. So a little concerning, but it looks like a game with a ton of personality. And it's like one I'm really excited about. I don't know if it's gonna be like a 9 out of 10 type of game. Maybe it's like a 7.5, hopefully like an 8. But it looks like a fun RPG. Looks like something that you could honestly probably should be ported over to the Switch eventually, and maybe it'll bring new life to it there. It'll probably be available on PC as well. I could see that, but it just looks really cool. I just love the look and feel of it. And you got like this like sidekick Alfred type of guy. Um, yeah, it just looks like a cool game. So check out Little Devil Inside. My assumption it'll come out sometime this summer, but probably not in July at this point if they don't have a release date.
So they haven't posted an update on their Kickstarter since June 13th of 2020.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, but they released a trailer with PlayStation earlier this year.
So apparently they have scrubbed the release. Sony scrubbed the release date from their sites.
Yeah, this is a delay.
The Little Devil Inside company has scrubbed the release date from their entire site.
Yeah. They disappeared at one point for like literally a year and a half. Like not a word about this game. They just disappeared.
They
had
haven't
like
posted on Twitter since 2017.
Yeah. It's got to be a very small studio, probably pretty disorganized, and this is their big first game.
It's Kojima. This is part of it.
He's part of it. That's why everything gets delayed.
Dude, Hassan is making this game. Fake Hassan.
This is the abandoned game.
Yes, this is abandoned. It's been abandoned.
It's been abandoned. I will be buying this game probably day one, though. I've been waiting for it for a while, so
I'll enjoy it in 2023.
It's 2025 maybe at this point. Maybe it'll never come out. They just don't ever hear from it again, even though the game looks done. So
yeah,
it's got to be around the corner. All right, let's go into what we're playing. I'll go first, but I think we'll mainly just talk about Sea of Thieves. Again, I've just been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just love that game. I'm not buying the DLC for Yuffie until it drops in price. Quite frankly, I'm a little frustrated by it, and I'm also going to Israel for a month, so I'm not going to be playing it anyway. But I'll probably wait for a sale to purchase that one. But I do love the game still, and the game with the PS5 upgrade looks absolutely stunning. And when eventually it comes to PC, it'll probably look even better. So just absolutely gorgeous game and everything that Final Fantasy should be. And again, makes me super excited for Final Fantasy 16 because Final Fantasy 15 was cool, but was a complete blunder as far as pacing and storytelling, and just wasn't good enough. And then Skyward Sword picking it up later this week, so I'll be playing that on the way to Israel, and probably just playing mostly Zelda games, honestly, the entire time. And then playing Sea of Thieves. And Ben, let's just talk about Sea of Thieves. I don't think you're playing anything other than that right now.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. So should we talk about our last?
Yeah, we can talk about it. There's the two of us.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can go.
Yeah. So we have video of this. We might release it separately. I'm not sure, but we find this, what was it, shipwreck? We're diving on the shipwreck, and
oh, it was so cool.
Yeah, we're going down trying to avoid those goddamn mermen,
yeah,
and the sharks and everything, and we come back up and this motherfucker's coming up on our ass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, somebody's coming in hot.
It's so cool when you see them coming in too from the distance.
Like, yo, anchor now, let's get.
Yeah, and you start rushing with the crew.
I'm like, yo, he thinks he's gonna come fuck with us. So he comes alongside us and he's like looking at us, and Yuri's like, he's looking at us.
Yeah, he was like all quietly just staring. Like, we're like, is he hostile?
I'm like, I'm on cannons. I'm like, I'm not gonna shoot first. I'm gonna let him. That son of a bitch shot a harpoon at us. So I'm like, no. And then he fired a cannon at us. He missed.
Too late. We lit him up.
Well, yeah. So I'm like, yo, bring us about. You're like, I don't know what that means. I'm like, turn us around. So we turn around, and I think he had his anchor dropped. I don't think he was moving.
Yeah,
I think he dropped anchor, and we just unloaded on him. Like I think we hit him like 7 times on one pass. I don't even know how you do that. and I was gonna go board him, but
yeah. Oh, that was the best part, actually. I wish that worked out because
it would have.
I was circling the ship around
Yeah.
him, right, and getting ready to light him up again. And then you jumped in the water and you were going to sneak in on him. It would stop him from even being able to fix his ship
Yeah, I
or
was gonna
being
keep
able to
his
fire
repairs,
back.
and he
Which,
sunk.
again,
Yeah.
shows like how dynamic that game really is. And if you have a crew of 4, like you can get really creative with the way you attack ships.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can just send people in the water and just have them sneak up on the ship, and then you just fire at the ship. You can use the anchor to quick turn yourself. Like there's so many like little details in that game.
Harpoon turns, like we were navigating through rocks, and
Yeah.
with harpoon grabbed the rocks, like
Yes.
pull us a little more. I mean, it was awesome. We had a good time. We were both exhausted, so we didn't play that long.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I played on my own today for about
I think
40.
I think sales are going up for this game too. Like I don't
Are
think
they?
this is a game that's like
Oh yeah,
leveling
definitely,
out and losing
dude. A
interest.
lot of YouTube is filled with people playing it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's kind of like No Man's Sky where like you were saying, like they finished the game late, right? Like it
yeah.
was pretty bare bones. And now it's kind of grasped onto a community and people are like, yo, this is a very good game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and they support it like crazy. It's awesome. It's a fun game.
It's
We
very
always have
good.
a story every time we play.
Yep.
I couldn't really find the action today. Um, I raised Reaper, which is like you fly a flag, it tells everyone where you are, and basically inviting a fight. But you can like I haven't fully figured it out yet, but I guess when you have the Reaper flag raised, if you do certain missions while you have that flag raised, you you get like bonuses because you're accomplishing these missions while you're
Hmm.
basically a target. So
I think the next thing we have to do is maybe when we have 4 of us, we try to take down a fort,
I'm down for some fort.
right?
Some
Because
yeah.
those are the toughest ones. They have cannons everywhere, and you got to essentially circle that bitch and then just.
Well, no, you got to get on and you got to beat waves and waves of enemies, and then you kill the boss. You get the key. You open the fort vault. Then you got,
Oh, you watched the
but
video of this, didn't you?
yeah, but everyone knows like what you're doing. So once you get the key, I think it announces to the entire server that you're doing this. So they know you're loaded with treasure.
Oh,
So
Jesus
then the
Christ! You got
whole
to
server,
rush to a port.
yeah. So I mean, yeah,
Oh,
we
that sounds
definitely should
exciting
try it.
though.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to do it. Um,
And you have to hope that your ship is not leaking while you have to have somebody on your ship repairing it. Like that's not something you can do with 2 people, probably, or at least
or
minimum 2
one.
people.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
tried
one
with
person
one
you're good.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, you get lit up.
Um, yeah, dude, I love. I'm very interested in that game. I don't even want to touch the story content, not for a while.
Oh yeah, we haven't even done any of that.
I don't want to. I need to find some people.
Yeah.
I want to do some PvP next time.
Well, hopefully we can get Richie on one of the games so he can.
He can help us, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that guy we fought, he wasn't good.
No,
But
we need to
he's
find some people with skill.
dude. He shot first.
He shot first.
We
We
weren't
ended
gonna
it.
we were gonna ask him to leave our shipwreck. We were still busy
We were gonna
plundering.
kill him. We were gonna destroy his ship.
Wasn't going to.
We were going to destroy him.
I didn't shoot first.
I would have shot him. I can tell you right now, he's not getting away because we were trying to remember that other ship that we chased down.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
What was it? That was a
that was
skeleton.
really fun.
So we thought that was a player,
Right,
but
but we
it
saw. Go ahead.
ended up being a skeleton ship.
Yeah,
But we thought it was a player.
but it was awesome to chase it down. Like you saw treasure on there,
Mhm.
but all the treasure disappeared, which was really annoying.
Yeah.
But it was awesome to see him in the distance and be like, "Yo,"
We're
and
like, we're
you're like,
going, we're
"Yeah, we're
going.
going!" Like lift the sail.
I'm like,
Let's
sails,
get
sails,
on it.
sails,
Yeah,
sails. And
and
then
we
we're
just tracked him down.
and then he was circling around the fort, and I'm like, yo, go like northeast. We're gonna intercept them
Yeah,
because he was circling around the fort, and we
yeah,
like came right up on him. And yeah,
and we lit them up.
we lit them up. We did a side impact on them. We were
Yep,
shooting at them.
that was
That worked.
awesome.
Yeah,
God, that game is so good. We're gonna have to play tomorrow.
yeah, I'm down.
Okay, let's go into the last segment of the show, game recommendations. I will go
Mhm.
first, and then we'll end on you. So my game recommendation for this time, and I mentioned this on the show, we both like this game, the Mad Max game for PS4.
Mhm.
Probably
NPC.
plays, yeah, NPC probably plays great on PS5. I doubt they're going to do any additional support because the game didn't sell very well. For some reason, this game didn't review as high as it should have.
Mhm.
But it's a really good game. I mean, even just the mechanics of having that, that creepy weird dude that hangs on the back of your car. But the relationship with your car, it kind of reminds me of Days Gone in the sense that, you really get into building up your vehicle. And it's really fun. And honestly, as I'm talking about it, makes me want to play it. So I might actually download it tonight and put it on the PS5, see how it runs on there. But they have a lot of environmental fun. It's a little bit of a desolate game, but it's necessary because it's Mad Max. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah.
I think it would have been great if they would have released a second version of this game.
So, yeah, I love the game too. Open world, but it is kind of empty with the cars and everything.
Yeah.
Love the mechanic of pulling off armor from the other
Yep.
vehicles in order to damage them. So this game did get the FPS boost
Oh, it
treatment
did?
on Xbox, so you can
Oh,
play
on Xbox.
4K 120.
On Xbox though,
Yes.
not on
And PC,
PS5.
I'm sure. No, it's not getting any support on PS5
Uh,
because the FPS boost on Xbox is done by the Xbox team,
right.
not done by
Yes.
Avalanche. Xbox does all
It
this.
was dude, Microsoft is killing it right now. There's no denial.
So yeah, if you have an Xbox, Mad Max, I'm sure it's on sale everywhere. Playing 120 frames per second, or get a PC like an adult. Yeah, great game.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I can't wait for Fable. I really
Hmm.
they did we didn't announce this in the news, but they did mention Fable recently, and I think they said that Fable is coming out before Skyrim.
Oh my God, yeah,
So, which makes sense, but oh, man, when Skyrim
yeah.
comes out, that or
Well,
whatever they call Oblivion, whatever is going to happen, that's going to
oh,
be
the new Elder
humongous.
Scrolls. You mean
Yeah,
Elder
Elder
Scrolls 6?
Scrolls.
Yeah,
Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. So
probably because
Elder
it's
Scrolls.
11:30. We're supposed to do it at 11. That's probably why you can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah, because we can never go less than 90 minutes because we're fucking
it.
assholes.
So my game recommendation. My games. I'm trying to stick to like lesser known games that
Yeah,
I think people know. This is a PC game, as far as I know. Um,
I'm trying to stick to games that people maybe forgot about.
yeah, I just uh Space Crew is my recommendation. Space Crew, um, by a developer called Runner Duck and Deep Blue. Um, it's very random, but it's a sequel of sorts, spiritual sequel to a game called Bomber Crew that came out on PC and mobile or iPad and stuff. The original Bomber Crew is you're in a World War II era bomber and you're shooting down planes that are it's like cross section. So you're looking at a cross section of the plane. You got a guy in the pilot seat, a guy up in the gunner seat, guy in engineering, but you're looking at side on view as if it was sliced in half.
Sure.
Um, Similar to FTL, if anybody's ever
Yep.
played FTL. So
I
you're
was
doing
just gonna say that.
missions. Yeah. So Space Crew is just like that. Space Crew is even more like FTL. You have your positions, but you can also zoom out, fly, point your ship on where you want it to go. You target your weapons. There's fires on board the ship. You get boarded. You jump to different star systems, completing missions. Very basic game, fun game. It's a game that I play while I'm watching a TV show or something.
Cool.
Yeah,
I like
highly
those type of
recommend it.
games
Yeah,
too.
it's like $10.
I liked
Um,
Fallout Shelter was like that a little bit
yeah,
too from that
exactly like
side
that.
view. I like
Very
that
simple.
type of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exact same view.
Yeah.
Fun
Resource
game, and
management.
it's not too crazy. You can pause it to issue orders and um,
I like that stuff actually.
yeah,
I like those type of man. I never played a FTL, but that seems like a game like I would like
FTL.
on.
Yeah, FTL is pretty awesome.
Yeah, but those seems like Space Crew actually. That sounds pretty cool actually.
Yeah, I think you like it.
Yeah. All right. So that's good. Another good episode. We'll be back with more. Hopefully, there's more news. Like I feel like we were kind of grasping at straws. A little bit of stuff that's pretty interesting. And state of
Yeah.
play wasn't big enough to like. There was nothing really monumental to talk there. You know, the biggest
Mm-mm.
thing is a delay
Right.
that we're talking about. So, not the most fun, but we'll be back next week. We'll have more stuff. Please like, subscribe, share this stuff. Again, tell us what you do and don't like. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have trailers on this episode, but we do plan on doing more of that in the future. We talked about it even before we started filming, so we're still going to be doing that. We just have there's just more preparation involved with all that, and we've just
Right.
been super busy. So but we'll get back on that, and especially when there's stuff to show. Like when we're excited, it shows in the show itself. Ben, you want to say anything else before we cut?
No, I mean, yeah, send us some feedback. Let us know. It does take a lot of preparation to get these episodes going. So if there are segments you like, segments you don't like, let us know, and we'll put more effort into those.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to keep going regardless. All right. Yep. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. And another very late night of video game talking. All right. Remember to always play on gamers.